everybody, welcome to my channel. This story about what if Naruto was master of the Zanpakuto and this story epilogue. Okay, let's start guys.
Naruto Uzumaki glanced at the sword at his side even as he walked up to the village gates he had left nearly 5 years ago. This isn't going to be fun. Naruto thought to himself. You're telling me. His tenant spoke up. It's boring in here again. Shut up, Kyubi. Naruto spoke up before seeing the guards snap to attention when they saw him and stare at the blonde. He had changed a lot in 5 years. He had of course grown taller and his extreme training gave him muscle, but even though it looked somewhat bulky it didn't slow him down. His blonde hair was slicked back and streaked with red and black, and a silver band kept it tied back in a ponytail that reached his shoulder blades, and a black band replace forehead protector, but there was no plate on it. His once blue eyes had turned cat-like and dark purple, and his whisker marks had almost entirely faded from his face. His tan complexion had darkened to be a somewhat dark golden. He had changed his clothing from an orange jumpsuit to black pants and sandal. He wore a black long-sleeved shirt over fishnet armor along with silver arm guards over th. sleeves. He wore a dark gray armored vest over that and a sash with the kanji for death and the kanji guardian along with it was tied around his waist. A pair of kunai halls were placed at either side of the base of his spine with a ninja pouch at his back, covering the kunai holsters. Another set of kunai holsters were strapped to his legs, and the visible portions of his arms at the wrist were covered in tattoos and seals. He wore black glove with metal plates along the fingers and on the back of the hand. His sword was secured to his waist on the sash he wore, and he kept one hand on it. Uzumaki. One of the guards asked, and Naruto recognized them as Genma Shiranui and Shikaku Nara. The one and only. Naruto spoke with a grin as he passed them. I'm here to see the Hokage. My training's over with. You've been gone for 5 years, you can't just expect to see the Hokage so soon without going through procedures. Shikaku told Naruto, who sighed as he pinched the his nose. Listen, I'll explain it all to Hokage-san, but I just don't have the time right now. Naruto spoke before he vanished. What the? Genma asked as one moment Naruto was there and the next he was gone. How did he get so fast? Naruto reappeared in the Hokage office in front of a shocked Tsunade and an expecting Jiraiya. Took you long enough, Naruto. I was starting to think you had stopped at a bar. Jiraiya commented as he handed a scroll over to Tsunade. Since he's finally here, I've got to get going. See ya later, Tsunade. Jiraiya spoke up before vanishing in a puff of smoke. Naruto, what the hell are you doing in here? Tsunade demanded as soon as her fellow Sannin left. I was told to be here by Jiraiya-sensei. Naruto answered back. You do want a report on my training, correct, Hokage-san? Since when do you call Jiraiya anything but Ero Sennin? Tsunade asked him, mildly shocked at his use of honorifics. And what about calling me Ba-chan? It was unprofessional, and it's been 5 years, I had some growing up to do. Naruto told her. I'll like to ask to apply to Anbu once this is all over. I have a scroll contain list of my abilities and Jiraiya should have given it to you. He has, and I'm impressed, but I like to see things myself before deciding on anything when it comes to shinobi promotions. I want to see what you've got during a test. Why? Sakura will be going up against Kakashi for a test to reinstate Team 7. Tsunade told him as Naruto nodded. When is it? Naruto asked. In the next hour. Jiraiya said you had nothing to do, so I decided to move it up. They should already be there even. Tsunade told Naruto as she stood up. Come with me. She vanished in a burst of speed and Naruto followed after her with ease. They stopped at a crowded training ground and Naruto silently walked up to Sakura and Kakashi. When will the test begin? Naruto asked after greeting the two. After I explain it all to you. Kakashi spoke as he drew out 2 bells. This one is different from the one you had when you became Genin. You'll have to take the bells by sunrise tomorrow, or this if often Team 7 is done. Think you can do it? Kakashi asked the 2 shinobi. Sakura only tightened the gloves around her hands as Naruto reached to his side and grasped the hilt of his sword. Good then. Come at me with the intent to kill. Kakashi told the 2 before he raised his forehead protector up and revealed his Sharingan. I won't be pulling any punch. Either. So begin. Sakura was about to leap forward when Naruto stopped her with a hand on her shoulder. I can handle Hatake-san, and my fighting style is a bit too destructive to work in a pair. Naruto told Sakura. I'll be waiting to save you when he kicks your ass. Sakura told Naruto as she stepped back and leapt into the trees. He fully drew his sword as he held it point first towards the ground. Bankai. Naruto whispered as he allowed the sword to fall. It slipped into the ground like it was water as the area around him darkened. Scatter. Senbon Sakura Kageyoshi. Naruto whispered as several corridors of large blades rose out of the ground and then broke apart into countless of petals. What the? Tsunade spoke from the sidelines as she observed the ability. Senki. Senbon Sakura Kageyoshi. Naruto spoke and the training field was consumed by a vortex of the petals before it cleared to show a dome made of several dozen RO. Thousands of glowing swords with each row on top of the other. Kakashi Hatake. Observe this technique and recognize its beauty in its simplicity, as it will be the last thing you shall see. Naruto spoke as one of the swords flew to his H. This is Senki, the technique that will bring about your death. Kakashi glanced around him at the swords surrounding him, giving up a pink glow as Naruto stared at him emotionlessly before vanishing from sight. Kakashi narrowly brought up a kunai in time to block the sword, and that itself only brought him a few moments to jump back as Naruto cut through the kunai almost without even trying. As Kakashi was in the air, Naruto pointed his fingers at him and 3 of the swords broke apart into petals before surging at him. Kakashi formed several hand signs and spewed out a stream of flames that the petals sliced through with ease. But this brought Kakashi time as it created a smoke screen. Naruto stood calmly within it before turning and catching his teacher's wrist as he tried to attack from behind before throwing him into the ground as he threw his sword javelin at him, only for Kakashi to clap his hands together with the blade between them, the tip of it cutting into his nose. Kakashi grabbed the sword by the hilt and made to fling it at Naruto, only to have to drop it as Naruto struck him in the gut with a palm strike. Naruto snatched the sword out the air without moving from his crouch from when he struck Kakashi and sighed. Bankai. Tensa Zangetsu. Naruto spoke as moments later he was consumed in a black and crimson vortex and exited it with his appearance changed. He wore a white undershirt with a black shihakusho over it, open at the front but held together with 3 black X's, and it flared out to 3 coattails behind him with the white. Gloves were on his hands, black but the underside white with small white X marks on both the back of his hands and large ones on his forearms. The sword in his hand had changed as well to be black with a jagged manji suba and chain going from the bottom of the black hilt to his glove in a loop. The sword was long, almost 1.5 meters, with a jagged tip and 3 protrusions at the end of the blade. I only did this to end this quickly, Kakashi. Naruto told the stunned Jonin before he vanished. Kakashi collapsed to the ground with a gash in his chest as Naruto appeared behind him. Black and red energy began leaking off the blade as he swiped it behind him and released a black and red crescent at Kakashi. Getsuga Tensho. A massive explosion engulfed Senki and blasted it apart as Naruto slid his sword into its sheath, it having been resealed. What the hell was that, Naruto? Tsunade demanded as Shizune and Sakura began healing Kakashi, and Shizune soon called Ino over as well. I was told to approach with the intent to kill and I did so. Naruto answered before glancing behind him and snatching a kunai out of the air and grabbed the scroll attaché. Of course Taka does something like this. Naruto thought with a sigh as he ripped the scroll off the end of the kunai. He opened the scroll and read over it before handing it back. So they're moving out finally. I guess I was a little too flashy. Naruto commented as Tsunade took a deep breath before speaking. Naruto. My office, now. Tsunade ordered him. Of course, I will explain everything there. Naruto told her before vanishing and kicked up a cloud of dust. Incredible, that was pure speed. Guy spoke up as he appeared next to Tsunade. Not even I can go that fast, he's already at the Hokage Tower. All of you. None of this leaves this field, and Asuma, Ino Shikacho, kill all of the root here. Tsunade ordered as Asuma vanished in a burst of speed and there were scree and grunts from the trees around them. Asuma returned in a few minutes, tossing a body off his shoulder. Kurenai. I've left him and 3 others alive, they were the captains. Asuma spoke as Kurenai stepped forward and placed a hand on their forehead as Shikaku and Chozi stepped out of the forest with 2 other bodies, with Inoichi stepping out next with a body slung over his shoulder with his eyes closed and one hand on their temple. Ino, help me with this. Inoichi told his daughter, who nodded before grabbing one of the barely alive root and doing what her father showed her to do. She applied several parasitic-type genjutsu invented by the Yamanaka clan. They fed off of the victim's chakra and created their worst fears, lowering any mental defenses. Next sent in probes to search for traps and trigger them so she could advance unheeded. It took nearly 30 minutes, but she opened her eyes a few seconds after Inoichi finished the last root off. I've gotten everything. Ino spoke up before pressing a hand on her father's shoulder and opening up her mind to him. Inoichi entered his daughter's mind and in seconds exited it with what he needed. Your defenses have improved, but I want you to add more traps and a few more diversions. It would take me a few days to break into the main part, but I know you can. Better. The enemy may not need you alive after they enter your mind, while I wish for my enemy's mind to remain intact. Inoichi told his daughter, who nodded. All the shinobi present then vanished in a burst of speed and arrived at the Hokage office in a few minutes, where Naruto was playing a poker game with 2 shadow clone. Each different from him. One had black eyes, where his were violet, and wore a dark brown, almost black cloak with the end jagged and edged and a ragged white dress shirt underneath. The other wore a crimson cloak with 9 tail-like designs on the back of it with crimson eyes instead of violet, with thickened and broadened whisker marks as well as claw nails. How the hell do you keep winning? The crimson-eyed one finally spoke. We've played 3 games in the last 30 minutes and you won all of them. Maybe he's just that damn good. The black-eyed one spoke up in a calm and smooth voice, nearly the opposite of the threatening and deep one of the other. Quiet you. The crimson-eyed one snapped as they flipped over the table. I quit. He vanished in a burst of red chakra and smoke in the other side before nodding to Naruto before vanishing in a burst of smoke and blue and black chakra. Naruto glanced at the ruined game before dropping his hands and pressing his hand down on a seal on the table. It vanished in a puff of smoke as he turned to Tsunade. Hokage-san, I'm glad you have finally arrived. Naruto spoke as he turned to her, his eyes emotionless and face blank. What do you wish to know? What is that sword? Tsunade asked him as she sat down at her desk. I call it a Zanpakuto, the only one in exist. Naruto answered. Soul Slayer. Tsunade asked. Why? Simple really. Naruto spoke as he drew the blade and pointed it towards Tsunade. The steel is my soul and the sharpness is my will. If my soul was to ever be broken, will become brittle. If my will ever weakens, then the blade will grow dull. Interesting. What does it do? Tsunade asked as she leaned forward, her chin resting in her hands. Many things. Let me show you. Naruto spoke with a smirk before holding the blade out horizontally and placing a hand at the base of the blade. Roar. Zabumaru. Naruto called out as the blade glowed crimson and began changing until it was a large 6-segmented blade, each segment wide with a spike at the side F. Away from the blade and being larger than the last. Naruto slashed forward and the sword acted almost like a whip as it lashed out, extending to many times its length and bouncing off the wall a few times to surround Naru. Rapidly moving cage of blades. Is that all? Tsunade asked, almost unimpressed. Hardly. Naruto spoke with a grin as he flowed chakra through the blade. Banaki. Hahio Zabumaru. In a massive burst of crimson energy, the sword transformed into a massive mixture of the skeleton of a snake and the sword Naruto just wielded, Zabumaru, but with more spikes added to the vertebrate with a red fur frill behind the snake head, a few times the size of Naruto as he controlled its size. I can fire concentrated blasts of chakra from the snake head with this form, either a constant stream, a short burst, a barrage, and several more variants. I am still Devila. Can of course combine it with my other blades, and I am still working out combinations. The best is with the blade named Tengen and its Bankai Kokuho Tengen Myoo. Nar. Spoke up as Tsunade nodded. Show me. Tsunade ordered him as Naruto sighed before his chakra flared. Bankai. Kokuho Tengen Myoo. Naruto roared as he was engulfed in a blast of power before Tsunade suddenly felt herself vanish and reappear behind the Hokage Monum. Where Naruto appeared in front of her with a massive armor-clad Hahio Zabumaru with a massive armored giant wielding Hahio Zabumaru as he wielded Zabumaru. Anything empowered with this Bankai becomes much stronger and makes it that much deadly. Naruto spoke up from on the giant. I can reinforce the armor with chakra. Adjust the size as I see fit. Anything else? Naruto asked as he placed Zabumaru on his shoulder and the giant mirrored it. Is this a Kekkei Genkei? Tsunade asked. No, but only Uzumaki can use it. Naruto answered. If a normal person was to even touch a sword, all of their chakra will be ripped from them. The blades only accept Uz chakra. You'll have to modify it. A blade that powerful will ensure Konoha's position as one of the strongest hidden villages. Tsunade told him. Like I said before, it only accepts Uzumaki chakra. If anyone else even touches it and doesn't have cage level reserves, they'll die instantly. To get a picture of that, just IM Samahade and then multiply it by 10. Naruto told Tsunade, and before Tsunade could speak again he vanished. He appeared in front of the many shadow clones he had sent on ahead and saw them and a group of others working on the Namikaze Uzumaki clan compound. Is this it? Naruto asked them as they simply nodded. Then you are dismissed. The shadow clone dispelled itself as Naruto walked into the compound, observing the several dozen clones still patrolling the compound. This is a bit overkill, Taka. Naruto spoke up as he entered the kitchen and began making himself a meal. It was necessary. A voice answered. Once I had cleared out the route inside, I found the compound in shambles and I had to fix it, knowing you would return here, Tonic. Naruto Dono. Just get down here, Taka. Naruto called out as a figure wearing a black trench coat and white mask with hawk-styled motif in blue along it. As you wish. Naruto Dono. The now identified Taka spoke up, barely containing his laughter at Naruto's expression. Would you quit that already? Naruto shouted as he was on the verge of snapping. Of course, Naruto Dono. Taka answered before collapsing into laughter. I'll kill you. Naruto roared as he drew his Zanpakuto. Reap. Kazushini. The blades transformed into two large kusarigama-like weapons with a spike on the top of the blade with one blade inverted, giving it the appearance of a pinwheel, and B. connected to the other by a chain. Taka leapt up in time to dodge the blades of air sent at him by Naruto, but not one of the thrown blades, acting like a buzz saw as it spun towards Taka. Taka managed to escape with only a scrape on his shoulder before Naruto swung both blades forward in intersecting arcs. Two shadow clones burst into life and stopped the blades with their bodies before dispelling as Taka dropped to the ground to avoid the blades. You really don't like the honorifics then, do you? Taka asked as he slowly stood up. Shut up, Taka. Naruto answered back as the two blades glowed briefly before shrinking and merging back into his katana, which he sheathed. No need to be so violent, Naruto. I'm just here to give my report. Taka spoke as he walked up to Naruto. It was a good thing I can make clones so easily. You could have me. Just give me the scroll. Naruto snapped as he held out his hand. Alright. Taka spoke as he reached into his pocket and withdrew a scroll. This was all I could get. Naruto quickly took it and opened it, and he grinned as he read it over. This is good enough. Naruto told Taka. The moment Akatsuki makes a move, I'll be able to counter pretty easily, but just to be safe, be on standby to intercept them if it's see to it. Understood. Taka answered as several blue-skinned ninja rose out of the shadows. I've planted the seals you gave to alert me if Akatsuki makes any attempts on the Jinchuriki. Make sure they don't capture any. Naruto told him before leaving the room. I don't fail my missions, Uzumaki-san. Taka answered as he stepped back and into a shadow spreading from the wall. Taka seemingly slipped into the shadows and was gone from Konoha and the Land of Fire entirely in a few moments. Naruto finished making his tea, deciding to skip dinner and instead read a report from Taka. He was interrupted midway through the report by a seal on the back of his hand activating. So Akatsuki has launched an attack finally, against Gaara no less. You would think they would wait for him to leave the desert. Ikibi is much more cooperative after the talk I had with him. Naruto commented as he stood up and the seal allowed him to reach Sunagaku in seconds. He saw Gaara battling against Deidara of the Akatsuki before Taka intervened. Kunai shot out of the buildings from tags as Deidara's clay bird flew low and cut it to pieces as Taka leapt forward and a chain bound Deidara as a chakra suppression tag slapped onto Deidara's leg. Naruto sensed Deidara's partner Sasori nearby and grinned as he formed several cage bunshin that rushed towards the Akatsuki member. Each summoned either Zabumaru or Kazushini to them with a grin as Sasori readied himself for another Jinchuriki rushing towards him.